Intelligence can be a double-edged sword. Having knowledge, sharp thinking, and understanding truths doesn't always make life easier. Sometimes it can become your greatest burden. Have you noticed how often the most intelligent people seem isolated? Or how those with deep insights about life's workings find themselves alone? This isn't accidental. If you've felt that everyday conversations become delicate balancing acts, where you carefully choose each word to avoid creating tension, you're experiencing what philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer observed: intelligence isn't always beneficial in social settings. What seems obvious to you might feel threatening to others. Your logical conclusions can unintentionally wound someone's pride, as unfiltered truth often feels humiliating. Most people aren't actually seeking truth. They're looking for comfort and validation. Think about your own experiences. How many times have you pointed out something factual only to receive annoyed looks? How often has correcting someone earned you resentment instead of thanks? When displayed without sensitivity, intelligence can trigger envy, cause rejection, and create discomfort. This is where many intelligent people misstep, believing knowledge alone is sufficient. Knowing facts is just the beginning. The real skill lies in handling your intelligence thoughtfully, like a subtle instrument rather than a flag you wave for everyone to see. Schopenhauer wisely called this approach the art of pretending to be a fool. Not because you lack intelligence, but because sometimes appearing less knowledgeable is actually the smarter choice. This isn't about denying your intelligence, but using it tactically. If you want to earn respect, avoid boasting. If you want people to truly listen, resist the urge to constantly correct them. If you want genuine influence, don't overwhelm others with your intellect. The secret is allowing people to feel they've discovered insights on their own. Look at who succeeds in society. Rarely is it the smartest person in the room, but rather those who skillfully navigate human relationships. Those who have mastered subtlety and recognize that while truth is powerful, it can also wound. The jealousy of average minds can become an insurmountable obstacle. This doesn't mean you should diminish yourself or accept mediocrity. On the contrary, true intelligence isn't wasted on pointless debates or proving your correctness. It recognizes when to speak up and when to remain quiet, when to reveal your full capabilities, and when simplicity serves better. Imagine sitting in a meeting when someone makes an obviously incorrect statement. Your first impulse might be to correct them, to highlight their mistake and reveal their lack of knowledge. But consider, what will you actually gain? Will you truly change their perspective? More likely, you'll only trigger their defensiveness, because no one enjoys feeling inferior or admitting they've been wrong. Instead, offer a gentle smile, a slight nod, and let the conversation flow. Not from cowardice, but from wisdom. You understand that not every error requires correction, and sometimes the wisest move is allowing others to maintain their perspective. As Schopenhauer bluntly observed, fools often have an advantage over the intelligent. Not because they're superior, but because society is largely designed to accommodate them. Society tends to reward mediocrity because it's comfortable and unthreatening. Average people unite, protect each other, and climb together, while truly exceptional individuals, if they don't manage their brilliance carefully, often end up isolated and misunderstood. This is where the real strategy begins. You don't have to join the mediocre majority, nor do you need to fight them directly. There exists a middle path, a perfect balance. Sometimes appearing less knowledgeable serves you better. Play with expectations. Let others believe you're less capable than you actually are, only to surprise them when the moment is right. History provides countless examples of this approach. Great strategists rarely revealed their full capabilities from the beginning. The most successful players never showed their complete hand. Napoleon, Da Vinci, Tesla all recognized the value of discretion. intelligent influence, and the art of appearing ordinary to achieve extraordinary results. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If the world perceives you as too brilliant, it will try to dim your light. If others see you as too wise, they'll attempt to undermine you. And if you display your full intelligence without restraint, people will turn against you. Not because you're wrong, but because human ego struggles to accept someone else's superiority. However, if you act skillfully and learn to moderate your intellect, presenting yourself as approachable without triggering jealousy, you gain the advantage. No one will anticipate your moves, no one will perceive you as threatening, and when timing is perfect, you can unleash your full abilities without resistance. This isn't about fear, it's strategic thinking. Want to know the secret to thriving in a world where mediocrity is celebrated? Learn when to remain silent, how to blend in when necessary, and how to move quietly in the background, reserving your brightness for moments that truly matter. Unmanaged intelligence becomes a burden, but intelligence applied with precision becomes your most powerful asset. So next time you're surrounded by ignorance or engaged in conversation with people unprepared for hard truths, remember this: you have nothing to prove. You don't need to win every debate or correct every misconception. Only the insecure display their superiority at every opportunity, while the truly wise manage their timing, shape others' perceptions, and practice patience. Appearing less capable than you truly are isn't betraying your intelligence. It's your smartest possible move. Taking this strategy further, pretending to be less knowledgeable, is just the beginning of navigating mediocrity without drawing unwanted attention. To truly master this approach, you must understand something more profound: the power of strategic invisibility. Consider this question: who are truly the most influential figures throughout history? Those who loudly broadcast their achievements, or those who operate quietly behind the scenes? The answer becomes clear when we look closely. People naturally fear what they cannot fully understand or see, making such threats difficult to counter. By maintaining a low profile, you avoid unnecessary enemies, jealousy, and sabotage attempts. History's most cunning individuals mastered this approach. They never sought constant approval, validation, or recognition. Instead, they moved through the world unnoticed, developing their strategies without announcing each step. While others competed desperately for attention, these quiet strategists worked in silence. And by the time the world finally noticed them, the game was already decided in their favor. This principle is so fundamental that we see it throughout nature itself. The most effective predators aren't those making the most noise, but those who stalk their prey silently. The snake doesn't advertise its venom, the tiger doesn't roar before pouncing, the sniper never reveals their position before taking the shot. In wilderness, warfare, and daily life, stealth consistently translates to power. Here's what makes this approach particularly valuable: the lower your profile, the greater your freedom becomes. People rarely concern themselves with someone they don't perceive as competition. When you present yourself as harmless, as though you're not even in the same race, they leave you undisturbed. While they exhaust themselves fighting for recognition, you're quietly preparing your actual move. Everyone notices others' mistakes, but yours remain hidden. If you fail, no one sees. If you succeed, it comes as a complete surprise. This is the essence of strategic thinking. But remember this crucial distinction: invisibility doesn't mean insignificance. It's not about completely disappearing. It's about knowing precisely when to emerge. It's about positioning yourself effectively rather than wasting energy on meaningless conflicts. Study the authentic leaders and genuine innovators. They avoid needless debates, steer clear of pointless arguments, and never struggle for attention. They exist in their own carefully constructed reality, building, observing, and patiently waiting for the perfect moment to act. Most people drain their resources trying to prove their value. They desperately seek recognition, validation, and the appearance of intelligence and importance. In doing so, they overexpose themselves. Their weaknesses become visible, their intentions transparent, and their movements predictable. If you truly want to master this approach, learn to be strategic with time. Don't rush. Never reveal your complete capabilities in the first encounter. Observe carefully, analyze thoroughly, and assess people accurately. Identify their vulnerabilities, understand their motivations. And when you finally take action, make it so precise that it's impossible to counter. Patience remains the most undervalued asset in today's world. Most people lack it. They demand immediate results and instant satisfaction, which ultimately leads to their downfall. A patient strategist who knows how to wait will always outmaneuver the impulsive. Napoleon wisely advised, "Never interrupt your enemy when they are making a mistake," and this principle applies throughout life. People inevitably reveal their weaknesses, insecurities, and breaking points. You simply need to watch and wait. If you genuinely seek influence, stop worrying about visibility. Stop chasing validation. Stop displaying everything you know, and begin thinking like a true strategist. While others exhaust themselves trying to prove their worth, you'll remain one step ahead, unseen, untouchable, unstoppable. This brings us to the most fascinating element of the strategy, perception management. Appearing less knowledgeable isn't merely defensive. It's a powerful tool. And staying under the radar isn't just protection. It's a technique for reshaping reality to your advantage. Let me explain with stark clarity. The world responds not to who you actually are, but to who it perceives you to be. Your genuine capabilities, wisdom, or brilliance matter less than perception. If others see you as threatening, they'll isolate you. If they view you as a pawn, they'll manipulate you. If they consider you a resource, they'll exploit you. And if they regard you as ordinary, they'll overlook you. Here's the key insight. You can choose which perception to project. You don't need to be recognized as exceptional in everyone's eyes. You don't need to appear as the strongest, smartest, or most talented. You simply need to present yourself as each situation requires. Many believe human interactions are fundamentally sincere, that conversations happen without hidden motives. This is a naive misconception. Every interaction involves an exchange of influence, even seemingly trivial conversations. There's always an underlying dynamic: who maintains control, who guides the conversation, and who influences whom. Those who master perception effectively shape reality. Study how the truly effective operators in this world function. They aren't the loudest voices or those seeking the spotlight. They're the ones controlling the narrative without drawing attention. They allow others to believe they hold power, while subtly directing outcomes. The essential element is subtlety. Have you noticed how certain people can influence others' actions without appearing to make requests? How some individuals present ideas that are adopted without force? This isn't coincidental. It's a developed skill. Here lies the crucial distinction between those who excel at this game and those who become its victims. The intelligent believe victory comes from proving they're right, while the wise achieve victory by leading others to believe they reach the conclusion independently. This is where strategic understatement becomes truly powerful. It's not merely about avoiding conflict. It's about guiding others imperceptibly, making them believe the idea originated with them, that they made the decision, that they always held the power. If you believe intelligence is simply knowing more than others, you've barely scratched the surface. True intelligence is the ability to shape events according to your vision without others realizing your influence. This requires mastering the art of indirect suggestion. Consider, would you rather win an argument, or have someone do exactly what you want without them realizing it was your intention? This distinguishes arrogance from mastery. Arrogance craves validation, while mastery requires only results. The most fascinating aspect is this. People rarely question ideas they believe are their own. When you attempt direct persuasion, their defenses activate. Their ego resists, and they feel challenged. But when you guide conversations subtly, planting small seeds while giving the illusion of choice, they arrive at your desired conclusion naturally. When this happens, resistance vanishes. The art of indirect suggestion becomes your most powerful tool, and when combined with strategic invisibility and an appearance of harmlessness, you become virtually untouchable. Remember this truth: genuine influence goes unnoticed. If someone recognizes your attempt to influence them, you've already failed. True influence feels natural, as if it were the logical progression of their own thinking. When this happens, resistance simply doesn't exist. Study history's greatest strategists. They never waste energy winning every argument or seeking the spotlight unnecessarily. They understand that the most effective control comes from letting others believe they're making the decisions. You can apply this same principle. Learn to plant questions rather than impose answers. Ask thoughtful questions instead of giving commands. Present choices where every option benefits your position, and most importantly, step back precisely when the other person believes they've taken control. When someone feels victorious, their guard lowers. And that's when you truly determine the outcome. This represents the highest form of social intelligence. It separates those who shape the world from those who merely observe it. Unrestrained intelligence creates opposition, but well-managed intelligence builds empires. Consider this. Would you rather be desperately proving you're the smartest person present, or quietly directing outcomes without drawing attention? Choose carefully, because the world isn't conquered by the most intelligent, but by those who apply their intelligence at the right moment and in the right way. Now we reach the conclusion. But before we close this discussion, understand something vital. Something few will ever learn, but which will transform how you navigate the world if genuinely applied. Everything we've discussed: strategic understatement, calculated invisibility, perception management, and patience as a tool, serves a greater purpose. This isn't merely about avoiding problems or navigating social complexities. It addresses something far deeper: becoming unreachable. Not physically distant, but positioned where nothing and no one can affect, disturb, or impede you. Consider history's most influential individuals. They weren't desperate for acceptance or overly concerned with others' opinions. They didn't respond to every challenge or become slaves to public perception. They remained essentially untouchable. Here's a difficult truth to accept: if the world can affect you emotionally, it can control you. If you react to every provocation, you become manipulated. If you constantly seek validation, you become vulnerable. And if you feel compelled to repeatedly prove yourself, you've already lost your advantage. However, when you learn to move without leaving traces, when you master influencing others subtly, and when you understand that true power comes from rising above immediate reactions, no one can truly reach you. Once you grasp that the most effective move often requires no explanation, that not every challenge demands your response, that you have nothing to prove to anyone, you become truly formidable. Our world overflows with reactive individuals, people who act impulsively, speak without consideration, and fall into predictable traps. But you recognize that genuine power lies in strategy, patience, and subtlety. You understand that constant recognition isn't necessary, and you know that those with real influence don't seek attention. They allow their actions to communicate their worth. Here's what makes this particularly significant. If you've followed this far, something within you already recognized these truths. I've simply articulated what you've intuitively felt, but perhaps never clearly defined. Now you face two choices. You can return to conventional patterns, behaving like everyone else, reacting to every challenge, wasting energy on meaningless debates, and seeking external validation like most people. Or you can begin moving differently. Apply these insights. Observe more carefully, speak more selectively, plan patiently, manage perceptions intentionally, and choose deliberately when to act and when to step back. Become someone the world cannot easily read or anticipate. The choice remains yours. But consider this final thought. The most effective players understand that the best move is the one that succeeds before anyone even notices it happening. If you've truly grasped everything we've discussed in this video, comment "Silence is my advantage" below so I know you're prepared to operate differently. And if you've found this helpful, subscribe, because what's coming on this channel isn't for those content with being ordinary, but for those ready to move like the true strategists of this world. Until next time, remember, those who create noise never see what's coming. Those who advance quietly always do.